All right, we're still at the point where we're looking at the related Sage code. Again, I want to emphasize here, we're not asking you to use Sage as a requirement. We're just simply saying to ease the transition when you transfer to another institution, whether it be NJIT or another university, that you're able to use what's known as a computer algebra system. Sage is a good example. I think the main reason why it's widely used all over the world and it's free. It's free to install on your computer. If you're using the web-based version, again, I'll emphasize what I mean by that. If you click on this little red link over here, it'll take you to a website. On that website, the web-based version of the CodeCalc. I personally don't like using the CodeCalc version. Main reason is I'm using somebody else's computer. And they're not going to let me use their computer free of charge, by the way. All right, you're using somebody else's computer. The software that was free to download, we have talked about in the past. Again, in my experience, a lot of students have a tough time with that. If you don't, you're able to install things on your computer. That's great. All right. So let's go back and I'm going to look at this code over here. And again, it's something new. We're always going to introduce something new. And again, not to be memorized. I don't memorize this stuff either. Sometimes I got to look things up. All right. I got to look things up. All right. Now that happens. All right. So let's take a look. And I'm going to go back to my code over here. Reset. Now, again, if you're in CodeCalc at shift return, I'm on my own computer, so just return. X is a variable. And what I point out is that although in Sage you don't need to do that, it's a really good habit to be in, is just simply typing in the variable you're going to use. Now I got F is being assigned something. What's being assigned over here? Piecewise. Now, the first place you saw piecewise was in math. Let's see, that was math 119, where you were given functions that were given to you in pieces. All right. And what I mean by pieces, they were defined as pieces on an interval. And I notice like people get dizzy looking at this, but on parentheses, square bracket, all right, parentheses, I'm just typing, we'll talk about as we type through, 0, 1, comma, x cubed. I'm going to try to make sense of what I'm reading here. Looking at it, looks like what they want is they got a listing, and the first listing is some function x cubed on the interval between 0 and 1. And the next function looks like it's on the interval between -1 and 0, comma, minus x squared. I'm just typing what I'm seeing. You're going to make mistakes, by the way. Everyone does. And when you make a mistake, whoops, it's going to let you know you made a mistake. It's not going to blow up, though. All right. And whoops. And then I'm going to type the letter F in. Now, suppose though you didn't put a space there. You can if you like. Okay, wow. It did it. I want to tell you what it did. It displayed F, how F was defined. Let me get rid of this part over here and show you this. Nothing comes back. Let me show you F, though. I'm trying to learn. So what's that original line of code we gave you? I defined F, and then I displayed it. So I'm putting two commands on one line. All right. Let's do F. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do F of 1/2. Now, I'm thinking about it. And where would 1/2 be? Between 0 and 1. So it's going to cube it. That'll be 1/8, right? 1/8. All right. Now let's plot F. And again, you're going to make mistakes. We all do. Wow, it plotted it. So I wonder what it plotted out. Well, let's talk about it. All right. It plotted x cubed between 0 and 1. Well, this is x cubed over here. And then between -1 and 0, it plotted x squared. Now, so I'm going to say, looking at these things over here, they're relatively the same, don't they? No, I gotta be honest with you. A cube and a square do look relatively the same. All right, relatively the same. Okay, let's keep going. when I say relative same, that range of between 1, 0 and 1, or 0 and -1, relatively the same. Okay. Let's do this one over here. I'm getting kind of tired though, right? Copy paste. Remember, copy paste can be causing nightmares for students. Let me clear. Now, when I clear it, I'm not getting rid of any other information in the problem except for that stuff that was displayed on the screen. Now, what's this going to do? Well, it's going to define G now as a piecewise function. Between 0 and 1, it'll be x squared. And between -e and 0, well, that's crazy sounding, it'll be this thing over here, which is a crazy looking function. It's minus x squared plus the log of the absolute value of x. Not a lot of problems there. And it displayed G for me. 2 commands on 1 line. What do I want to do? Plot J. And we'll talk about as we do that. So it plots it. I want to tell you what it did. Well, I had to pull the graph over. So between 0 and 1, it plotted x squared. This is x squared. Between -e and 0. All right, what did it plot? It plot this thing over here. Well, -e, right? They didn't give me a full picture, did they? They gave me a part of a picture. Give me the full one. I'm going to wonder about this over here. But now I got this thing over here, and this would be kind of a difficult graph for most students to plot out. I noticed there's an artifact in the graph too. You notice that over here? There's this little blue line over here. You know what I want to use? I want to use different software. And let's see if we can do that. All right. So I'm going to use different software now. And when I do this, I want to point out, I'm not telling you what software you need to use. I'm just telling you should have at your disposal a variety of software to use. And what you decide to use is what you decide to use. This is one of the objections I have with NJIT. They always say, oh, you need to use MATLAB. Well, sometimes there's better tools. So I'm going to plot out, x squared, and I'll do this over here. I'm going to, let's see what I can do over here. And I'm going to do it in pieces now. I'll have 2 pieces. And I'm going to say, let's see, x squared. And I'm going to say, I want this to be above, well, it's between 0 and 1. I want it to be above 0, right? So x greater than 0. We'll do that later. Now, someone says it's going to go beyond 1. I realize that. I know that. I'm just going to the simplest possible thing I can do. Let's do the other one. Looks more complicated. Minus x squared plus, I want to point out log in Sage actually is the natural log. That might seem odd to you, but in upper left mathematics, there's only natural log. The log of the absolute value, that looks strange, huh? X. But what's the x going to be between now? I want to point out what it's between. It's below 0, including it too. So I'm going to say x less than or equal to 0. I'm going to plot this out. All right. I like this graph better. I really do. I like this graph better. All right. I'm going to show you where -e is, though. All right, I'm going to show you where that is. New equation over there. I'm going to say x equals -e. It's right over here. All right. So I'm going to get rid of the grid because I don't like the grid. Or the frame. And one thing I like about, software like this, I'm going to also make this a different kind of a line. That's -e, by the way. And let me take a look at that inspector. I can make it a dashed line. And what I want to do is I want to zoom out. Now, someone says, why are you using this software? I actually prefer this software. If you wonder what this software is, called Grapher. It allows me a lot of control of what I'm looking at over here. You see that? I'm getting a much better picture. I'm going to kind of zoom in to what I want. All right. I'm going to zoom in to what I want. And let me kind of do that for you, okay? And I'm going to zoom in to this region over here. This is a much better picture for me. And I'll tell you why it's a better picture for me. I'm definitely seeing the curve. This is minus E up to 0. Looks like this over here. And I'm seeing this curve over here. All right. Seeing a better picture. Now, someone says, do I need better pictures? Well, we need to visualize things a lot of times to understand things. What do we do over here? Not too much. We just simply went through some how to graph a piecewise function. Whether you're using one piece of software or another, really doesn't much matter. You're capable of doing that, though. You're capable of doing it in Sage or any other application you want to use. All right. Let me call it quits on that. Again, you can play around with this, and we recommend you do play around with this. Thank you.